Okay. So good morning to all of you. You are able to hear, right? So voice is audible and screen is also clear. So I welcome you for this second class, okay, on structural stability. So now first class, you see, we had, I think Monday, I think we had our first class. So I have already told you about the syllabus, the textbooks, and then the evaluation pattern. Okay, so how we are going to follow for this course itself. And then as already you followed, right, you have seen that this structural stability is essentially mathematics only. You are a differential equations. Okay, so if you are good at solving ODE, PDE, eigenvalue, eigenvector, continuous eigenvalues, then this course is just like a cakewalk kind of a thing. Okay, and the most important thing, as already I told you, see, any structure will buckle, okay, under compression. The only criteria is if it has to be under compression, that's all. Okay, so we have also discussed last class, that stable, equilibrium, then unstable, neutral kind of a thing. So now if a stable equilibrium, that is what you see, the geometry and other things matters, and that is what we require actually, okay, in practice itself. And then we have seen that column, say, so column is in which state of equilibrium? So when the load is very small, say, the column will be in stable equilibrium only. Okay, so as you keep on increasing the load, so the column goes from stable to unstable. You will have a neutral equilibrium kind of a thing actually. Okay, so when P is equal to PCR, so the transition point from stable to unstable equilibrium. Okay, so this also we have seen. And another thing what we have seen is yes, axial deformation doesn't enter the solution. And then the most important thing is it is a linear problem. So generally linear problem means we have only one solution, but buckling is special linear problem. You have infinite number of solutions also. Okay. And why column buckles? The reason also we told, energy for bending is less than energy for axial deformation. So that is why you see the column buckles also. So we will calculate these energies, at a later stage in this course itself. Okay. So now let us start our things. I will just share this whiteboard. So now I will just share this screen. Yeah. Yes. So you are able to see, right, the whiteboard. Okay. Yeah.
Yes.
So now, yes. Yeah. So now you see the previous class we have already seen. So now we will do some more things. Yeah. So now we have derived last class, using a second order ODE. Okay. The how the for fixed end hinge case, say. Okay. So we already derived, you see, the buckling load for hinge case, that is a simply supported, say, and then fixed kind of a thing. See, all those things you see we have seen in our last class, and our equation of equilibrium, say, was EIY double dash plus PY actually, okay, is equal to 0, for hinge fixed, say. So we have seen when the column is fixed or a cantilever, say. Okay, cantilever or one end fixed, other end hinge kind of a thing actually. Okay, so these three cases, so this ordinary differential equation, you will be having your right hand side also. Okay, so this will not be equal to 0. So for fixed case, say, your right hand side was some m naught kind of a thing. Now for a cantilever, say, it was a p times is a delta kind of a thing. For fixed end and hinged end, say, maybe some m naught into x by l or something, you see, it comes. And we have derived all the buckling loads also. This anyway you have studied in undergraduate, just a recap of what you have done in this itself. Okay, and then you see we went to this beam columns also. Okay, now in the beam columns, say, okay, so you have you followed it, you can draw whatever way you like. So this is, if you take a simply supported condition, so you have the load also, so some q of x, and it is also subjected to, you see, this axial load actually. Okay, p. So finally if you write equations of equilibrium, that is sigma f and then sigma m, say, both of them are 0, you can derive easily. It is same as what you did in your mechanics of materials actually. Okay, so the equation turns out to be, we already wrote, I think, in the last class. Finally, after all those algebraic expressions, a fourth order ODE comes into picture actually. So py double dash is equal to Q of X actual. Okay, so this is our equation for a beam column. Now, if you neglect this load, say, so if this lateral, this load is 0, so then you would have, you see, this fourth order ODE actual. Okay, is equal to 0. So this is our for column buckling. So this you can use once again, you followed it for a beam column or even a column when the load is 0 actual. So now this equation and then this equation, say, which we wrote in the last class, both are same actually. Okay, so only thing is this is a second order ODE. So two boundary conditions required. So already we are constraining actually, like imposing a M naught P delta kind of a thing at the other ends. Now you can use this equation to solve, or you can even solve the problem by this fourth order ODE. Okay, the advantage of this fourth order ODE is to solve these columns. The thing is, you know, your right hand side is 0 actually. Okay, so which means, you know, this is a homogeneous, you followed, right? Ordinary differential equation you have, but the only problem is, you see, you have four boundary conditions actually. Okay, this is the thing. Now suppose if I use this equation, say, that is EI y double dash plus PY is equal to 0. So this is a second order ODE for a column. Yeah, but for simply supported, it is perfectly fine. But for other boundary conditions, this becomes, you know, inhomogeneous kind of a thing. Okay, so which means, you see, you have to write particular integral or you know, that complementary solution. Both the parts you have to add, and then you see you have to solve. Both are same actual. Okay, so one is second order inhomogeneous, other one is homogeneous, but four boundary conditions are required actually. Okay, and I will just show you this fourth order equation. Say, okay, so what is the, you know, beauty here? And then so this is the fourth order ODE to solution, say. Okay, so this fourth order ODE, you know, you can write as, you see, y is equal to c e to the power of some you know, mx kind of thing, say. So you can write y dash, you know, you can calculate y double dash and y, all those derivatives. So now if you substitute actually, okay, in the above, you see the equation. Now, so now you see we have, you know, something like, you know, c m to the power of 4 e to the power of mx plus k square, say, m square c you know, e to the power of mx is equal to 0. Okay, so where your k square is, you followed, right, that p by ei kind of a thing. So you have finally, you see, m to the power of 4 plus k square m square actual. Okay, multiplied by your c e to the power of mx is equal to 0. Now for non-trivial solutions, say, so your m4 plus k square, you see, m square has to be equal to 0. So which means you will have four roots actually. Okay, 0 and then plus or minus, say, ik kind of a thing. So two roots will be 0, 0, 0 kind of a thing you have. So now the solutions, you know, in OD, when the two roots are equal, you see, how do you write? So y is equal to, you see, we can write this e to the power of ikx plus c2 e to the power of minus ikx plus, you know, c3 times x plus c4x. So these comes from, you know, the equal roots actually. Okay, that is m is equal to 0 kind of a thing, because two roots are same. Okay, and this comes like, and if you write in terms of sine and cos, say, if you expand, so finally you can write this as a sine kx plus, you know, b cos, you see, kx plus cx plus d. So this is our the final solution for this fourth order ODE. It's a homogeneous case actually. Okay, now if you have a fixed case, say, so if you see this fixed, you know, the column kind of a thing. Already we know the solution, but you know, we just, if you want to calculate from this fourth order ODE. Okay, now you know, so y is equal to, you see, 0. Obviously the boundary conditions all of, you know, at 0 and L. Then y dash, say, slope is also 0 at x is equal to 0 and L. So four boundary conditions are there actually. Okay, so now solve this one, so subjected to these four boundary conditions. If you write it in a matrix, you know, the format, say. Okay, so we can write, you know, something like this. Now, so you can write, you followed it. So the first condition 0 1 0 1. Okay, then k 0 1 0. Then you have sine kl, and then you have, you see, cos kl 1 l 0, and then k cos kl minus k sine kl, and then 1 comma 0 actually. So a b then c then d. Okay, so you can write, you see, like this 0 0 0 0. So this is how you see the solution looks like for using the boundary condition. So the first one you see y is equal to 0 at x is equal to 0. Then y dash is also 0 at x is equal to 0. So you will have, so some of the terms goes to 0, if you substitute, say, you will have a solution, you see, like this actually. So now for non-trivial case, okay. So if the trivial solution is a, b, c, d is equal to 0, which means, if a, b, c, d is 0, so deflection is 0, which means the column is, you see, perfectly straight actually. Okay, that is the meaning of the solution. So now for non-trivial solutions, say, so determinant, you see, of this matrix has to be equated to 0 actually. Okay, so now when you do this fourth order ODE, say, the challenge here is, you have to find out determinant of, you see, a 4 by 4 matrix. Okay, so this is a challenge here. So all of you in engineering, so generally, our matrix sizes will be, 3 by 3 or 2 by 2 kind of a thing. So all of you know how to find out determinant for a 3 by 3 matrix or 2 by 2 matrix. But 4 by 4 means, procedure is same, but it involves, a lot of, computations are there. But when you are doing on MATLAB or any computer software, it is very, easy kind of a thing. Okay, so now determinant, if you try to find out, so for the matrices, for the 4 by 4, you have cos KL minus 1 plus KL into sin KL is equal to 0. So finally, sir, and if you expand sin KL, 2 sin KL by 2, you do some little bit algebra, cos KL by 2, and then cos KL, say. So if you expand 1 minus 2 sin square, okay, so KL by 2, and then you substitute, so, and if you denote U, as some KL by 2, say, okay. So you have finally, sin U into tan U minus U is equal to 0. So this is the determinant of that matrix actual, okay, after simplifying all the steps. So now here, we have two chances are there. So one is, your sin KL by 2, or sin U is equal to 0. So this is one option. Other one is, tan KL by 2, say, is same as, you see, KL by 2. Okay. So two options are there. So now already, KL by 2 is sin you already, n pi. So the critical buckling load, say, is given by 4 n square pi square ei by L square actually. So now for this case, say, now what is the speciality of this equation? Anybody knows? So tan u is equal to u, say. So these type of equations, in mathematics we call them, transcendental equations actually. Okay. So transcendental equation kind of a thing. Now how do you find out the roots? Anybody know how to find out the transcendental equation?
Trial and error.
Trial and error. No, right? So you see, you have like this. Your tan graph will be something like this actually. Okay, your tan KL, tan U, and now this is your straight line. Okay, so you have to find out these roots. So there are infinite roots are there, and if you take the first root, say, so this you have to do it numerically. There is no closed form solution is there. So KL by 2 is 4.49 something, you see. 3, 4 it comes, and your first buckling load, say, PCR, is 80.76 EI by L square actually. Okay. And now which one will give you the lowest buckling load, sin U or tan U? See, among these two equations, the first buckling load here you will get for n is equal to 1, you will get first buckling load from this mode actual. The second one is tan U is equal to U, you are getting this one. So now which one will be the smallest, the first or the second?
First.
Sin U, because when n is equal to 1, say, what happens, 4 pi square, it is a 3.14. Something around, you see, 9 or something it comes, and 39 point something it comes. So now your first buckling mode, say, okay, so you can say that the first buckling, you followed the first buckling mode. So this is controlled by, you see, your sin U is equal to 0 itself actually. Now the second buckling mode, what will be the second buckling mode? See here there is a issue actual. So now generally second buckling mode means n is equal to 2 you take actual. Okay. So n is equal to 2 means 2 square becomes 4. So 4 into 4 into 3.14 whole square actually. Okay. Now what will be that value? See that is
315.5.
3 what is it? 315, right?
Yes, sir.
So that means 315 actual. But now when you compare this with this, what is this value here?
It's less.
80.76. So now when it comes to the second mode, so second mode is controlled by not sine KL by 2 is equal to sine. The second mode is controlled by tan u is equal to u actually. You followed. So the second mode is controlled by, you see, so your tan KL say by 2 is equal to KL by 2. So this is what it controls actually. Okay. So you can see here. So for a fixed columns, anyway in civil engineering we require only the first mode. But if you are interested in the higher modes, say, so first mode is controlled by sine KL by 2. Second mode is controlled when it switches actually. You followed. So one buckling mode to another buckling mode, and then the third one, say what? Where will be the third one? Now, see third one, what happens? You know, if you calculate these numbers, third one once again it comes to sine u is equal to 0. For the fourth one, once again, it may go to tan u is equal to u actual. Okay, so the buckling mode, it switches between these two. So the first buckling mode, say, is controlled by your sinusoidal term. So it is, something like this. Okay, this is the first buckling mode. But when it goes to the second buckling mode, say, it is now no more your sine u is equal to 0 kind of a thing. So it is something, it is controlled by, your tan. Okay. And you can even find out, you see, so this effective length or whatever, for the second one, say something is 0.3495 times, u kind of a thing actually. So this is your tan u is equal to u, and this is you followed, right? Sine u is equal to, whatever 0 kind of a thing actual. Okay. So here, please remember, generally in your undergraduate, say, so we think that there is only one buckling mode shape like sine KL by 2 is equal to 0. So the higher the second mode, say, generally we think that second mode is given by substituting n is equal to 2 and then we calculate actual. Okay. But in reality, you can have for the same fixed case, first mode is controlled by 1, the second mode is controlled by some other buckling mode, and then third one will be, this switching also, you see, sometimes, it happens in calculations actual. Okay. So this you have to be very, very careful actually. Okay. So this is a very important thing. See, generally the second for civil engineering, the first mode only we take. Generally our failures, we take this one. But if you are working in biomechanics or even in steel structures also, okay, steel structures nowadays you followed, right? In the high strength, some wires are coming actually in materials, new materials are coming day by day. So these materials are something, they buckle, they are like a highly complicated kind of a shapes. They have something like this, you followed, variety shapes comes, and they are very high strength, material kind of a thing. So these type of materials, they buckle in second mode or third mode or fourth mode becomes, very, very, important for this actual. Okay. So when you're doing these type of structures, be careful. So the most important thing what everybody should understand is your buckling mode is not same actually. Okay. So what you are doing here. So what happens in practice is your buckling mode, say the mode shape can change. So this one, so second mode, some other can come, you follow, right? So if you are calculating these points, inflection points or whatever, you have to be very careful in practice. Okay. So this is a very, very important information, you see. So now you can derive this. I have derived for fixed case. So you can derive for a variety of other cases actual. Okay. So only problem is, the answer is same, whether you solve a second order ODE or a fourth order ODE, it is perfectly fine. But fourth order ODE, when you solve, so you will get some, very, extra information or very good information you have. But the price what you pay is you have to find out determinant of a 4x4 matrix actual. So this is the challenge. But now you have MATLAB, or Maple, say, okay, Mathematica. So you can do a symbolic, this determinant you can find out. So it becomes very easy actually. Okay. So some hidden information also can come up when you do this, broad kind of a thing, the fourth order ODE, like a generalized kind of a case. Okay. So now, you derive for other kind of a cases. So now, we will see this large deformation theory, say. Okay. So large deformations. Last time also I told you. So when large deflection or large deformation or large deflection, we say. Okay. So this is also known as, sometimes in mechanics, elastica also. Okay. So this is a name. Now, as already I told you, right, in the first class we have seen. Now when you do for the radius of curvature, say, we write as, d square y by, dx square kind of a thing. Okay. So which means, last class I already told you, when we write in terms of a Taylor series expansion, say, so this means exactly you are taking, only the first term into your calculations. Okay. But whereas, the second higher order terms also are there. So now if you include these higher order terms in the Taylor series, say, Now what happens? Okay, in a Taylor series, now how good your results will be there actually. Okay, now so this problem is very very important. Maybe in our RCC columns are steel. We don't. It is not that much important. But when you are doing this special kind of materials or micro, that all kinds of things, so this derivation becomes very very important. So now let us do this one. So what is the effect of buckling? Higher order terms and everything. So now we take a simply supported column. Okay. So this is our simply supported column subjected to the same axial load. So if you ignore these large deformations, already you know the answer, pi square EI by L square kind of a thing. So now I see we say like this. Okay. So this is your alpha. This is also your alpha. So now if I take any point, say, if you draw any tangent actual, okay. So this angle will be taken as slope is theta itself, and let us say the deflection, say, at this point is some y, and this is your L, the length of the column kind of a thing. So this is your length. So now what we do is, you see, so if you take this small element, okay, so if you zoom up, so you can also write like this. So ds is the length of the column, so dy is this, and this is your theta actual. So I'm just zooming up that portion, and now s is so your arc length of the column actually. Okay, so this is our column. So now your equation says, so we write m is equal to ei by r. Okay, so now this we are ignoring actually. Okay, so the 1 by r is equal to d square by d square we are not using. We are including the complete Taylor series expansion itself. So now this becomes so ei into, we can write this as a d theta by ds. Okay, so where your theta is the slope. So now derivative of slope is anyway your curvature. So we are ignoring those, all those, we have not neglected any terms in the Taylor series. Okay, so now this is our bending moment expression. So now we write this ei d theta by ds, okay, plus py is equal to 0. So this is our equation. So previously we used to write as ei d square y by dx square. That we are now avoiding in our calculations. Okay, so now we define k square, say, as a p by ei kind of a thing. So now our equation will be so ei d theta by ds. Oh, sorry. No. So d theta by ds plus, I see, k square y is equal to 0 actually. Okay, so now to make this to write nicely, so we differentiate, say, with respect to s. So what happens is, you see, d square theta by ds square plus k square into, you see, your dy by ds comes, okay, is equal to 0, or d square theta by ds square plus k square. What is dy by ds? Now, so see this here. What is the dy by ds?
Sin theta.
It is sin theta. Okay, and theta is not small. See, when theta is small, say, we write as sin theta is same as theta actually. But here we are not doing that, and we are saying that theta is large. So this becomes, you see, k square sin theta is equal to 0 actually. So this is our equation. You see, for large elastica or something like this, we write. Okay, just like k square sin theta. Now this equation, are you familiar? Where have you seen these type of equations? Can anybody remember? So these equations, where have you seen these type of equations? Theta is the slope, so d square theta by ds square plus k square into sin theta is equal to 0. Where have you seen this equation? This equation should be familiar to all of you. Where you have seen? So where have you seen this equation? Can anybody answer? Where have you seen this type of an equation? I will give you a clue also in structural dynamics. See, this is a very, very famous equation. Structural dynamics, you would have used this, for many calculations. Or it's a very famous equation. No. So none of you have seen that.
Sir, solution for elliptic functions.
That is fine, but physically where this equation comes for what cases?
Pendulum.
Fantastic. So this is nothing but equation of motion for a pendulum. Hello. So for pendulum also, you see, same thing, we use. Okay. So this is nothing but, equation of motion for a pendulum. But the only thing in pendulum is S will be replaced with a T. That is the only thing, okay, of a simple pendulum. Okay. So you see, and what do we do in pendulum in dynamics? In the structural dynamics also, what you people do is you ignore the sine theta. So when theta is very small, you say sine theta is same as theta. So simply, that you calculate your time period or something. But this is not when theta is not zero, say. So this is, it's a problematic. So this is basically a non-linear ODE actually. Okay. So to make it linear, we ignore sine theta is same as theta, we write like this, but in reality, it is a non-linear ordinary differential equation. So it's a very complicated, you see, to solve. Okay. So now to solve this equations. So to solve this equation, you see, you do some little bit algebra, what you have studied in your mathematics. Okay. So multiply, 2 into d theta by ds into ds and integrate actually. The same equation. Okay, so you have integral. So d square theta by ds square 2 into d theta by ds into ds plus 2k square sine theta. It's a nonlinear ODE, so its solution is slightly different kind of thing. So we write like this, just multiplying on the both the sides. So now this term, if you see, say, okay, so 2 into d theta by ds into d square theta, say, by ds square. Now, so this you can write this as into ds. So this expression can be written as d of d theta by ds whole square actually. Okay. So one can write like this, and then your sine theta, say, into d theta can be written as minus d of say cos theta kind of a thing. And finally, you substitute everything, say. So this is d of d theta by ds whole square minus 2k square can come outside. So d of say the cos theta kind of a thing is equal to 0. So now this derivative, say, and then this the integral actually. Okay, so this you can remove. Finally, you can write this equation as you see d theta by ds whole square minus 2k square cos theta is equal to 0 kind of, or is equal to, sorry, this constant will come here because of the differential equation. So this is how we see we write that solution here. So now to find out this constant, say. Now, so to find out this constant C, we use the boundary condition. So since the edges are simply supported, say, so for a simply supported case, we know that bending moment is 0. So now what is bending moment? So bending moment, we already wrote, in terms of EA into d theta by ds actually. Okay, so that means your curvature is 0. So you can say that this d theta by ds is equal to 0 at x is equal to 0 kind of a thing. Okay, so now this boundary condition can be used to find out that constant. So now bending moment is 0. So which means is your curvature. Okay, that is d theta by ds. So this is equal to 0. So now you can find, so that theta is equal to alpha. That means you see theta. So finally your C you get as minus 2k square, say, cos alpha. So because at x is equal to 0, your theta is alpha. Okay, so you can see here this is theta is equal to alpha at x is equal to 0. So using this boundary condition, you see, you will get your the constant C. And finally, say, so you can write this expression as so d theta by ds whole square is equal to say 2k square, say, cos theta minus say cos alpha. Okay, as r you can write this as d theta by ds. Okay, so this is a plus or minus is a square root of 2k. So cos theta minus cos alpha kind of a thing you have. Now ds, say, you can write this expression as ds is equal to minus d theta by root of 2k cos theta minus cos alpha kind of a thing you have. Okay, and if you integrate, say, so length of the column. Okay, so that means it's integral 0 to this one. So this becomes r minus alpha to plus alpha also you can do, because you can write in terms of thetas actually. Okay, so you can see here theta is plus alpha, and this edge set is minus alpha kind of a thing. So you can integrate with respect to theta also. So this becomes d theta by root of 2 k cos theta is minus cos alpha kind of a thing. Okay. Now to do some to represent this in a nice fashion, say we use some trigonometrical identities like cos theta is equal to 1 minus 2 sine square theta by 2, and then your sine cos alpha, say 1 minus 2 sine square alpha by 2. So you do some little bit algebra here. So this expression can be written as, so 1 by 2 times k, you bring it outside, alpha d theta by sine square alpha by 2 minus sine square theta by 2 kind of a thing you can write. And finally say, so you have to do some, this integral is little bit complex, so you introduce new variables. Okay, so some new variables, so some p is equal to sine alpha by 2, and then some p sine phi, say a new variable phi is introduced here, sine theta by 2. Okay, and then a d theta 2 times p cos phi cos theta by 2 into d theta. So your change of variables you use here, and finally say you can write your L as so 2 by k 0 to pi by 2 d phi 1 minus p square sine square phi. So this is how you see this comes into picture actually. Now what is this integral known as? Now, so this is a very important integral in the mathematics actually. Essentially this term you follow, or you can write this as L is equal to some 2 kappa by small k, where your kappa say. So this you can write as integral 0 to pi by 2 d phi by 1 minus p square sine square phi. Now, so what is this integral known as in mathematics? This is essentially this term. Any of you remember?
Elliptical integral of first kind.
This is an elliptical integral of first kind. Generally, circular integrals, how do they look like? As somebody know, circular integrals we say. So if you are having a circular integral, say, okay. So in mathematics, we have integral, elliptical, and circular are there. So circular integrals, you see, they will be looking like this. So 0 to, sorry. So circular integrals, they will be, you see, like this, 0 to x dt, by root of 1 minus t square kind of a thing. So these type of integrals, you say, we call them as circular integrals actually. Elliptical integral means d phi p square sine square phi comes into picture. So these are very special integrals. So these type of integrals are known as elliptical integrals. Okay, of first kind. Okay, so these integrals have been derived, I think, by Newton and some legendary follower, right? So those people observed this when you are calculating, I think, length of an ellipse or something like that. Okay, related or planetary, kinds of a thing. So anyway, so these is how you see the things comes into picture actually. Okay, so now this L you have to find out here. So now you see if we denote these terms, so if k is small k is root of p by ei kind of a thing, and if you use this notation, say pi square ei by L square kind of a thing, so you can write this expression as p by pcr is equal to 4 this kappa factor actually, k square by pi square. Okay, so this is how you see you can write for the critical the load itself. So if you write in details, okay. So now if you find out the deflections at the midpoint, so the deflection at the midpoint, if you try to find out, So that is dy by ds is equal to sine theta. So your dy say is sine theta into ds, or your sine theta, okay, into d theta. So ds is nothing but that elliptic integral you have to substitute here. Cos theta you followed it, minus cos alpha kind of a thing. And finally, so the deflection that is at the midpoint, because this is what we are interested in, where the deflection will be maximum. So this you can write is 0 to delta dy, where delta is nothing but the deflection, or you can write also in terms of 0 to alpha sine theta d theta by root of 2 times k root of cos theta minus cos alpha kind of a thing. So once again you use all those elliptic integrals and other things. So finally you can write this as del by L, say 2p, after doing all those calculations is pi into root of p by PCR. So you can also write in this format. Okay, so these for the midpoint deflection. So now if you try to tabulate, say, so alpha, then your elliptic integral, okay, then the load p, then you see p by PCR and delta by L actual. Okay, so these are the terms. So the load and other one. So the numbers will be like this. So 0 degrees when it is 0, then when it is 20 degrees actually. Okay, then when it is 60 degrees, if you try to tabulate these numbers, say, so this 0 degree is nothing, this k is nothing but your elliptic integral. So this you can easily calculate in MATLAB. So 0 degree when alpha is 0, so elliptic integral is pi by 2. Then this is 1.583. Then this is 1.686 kind of a thing you have. Then this will be 0, 0.174. Then this is 0.5, and this is 1, 1.015, 1.152, and your delta by L is 0, 0.11, 0.296 actually. So this is how the numbers looks like. So now what is your comment? So you look at this portion. So this row, say, what does it tells you finally? See, when the slope is 0, so what is happening?
Both are same.
So that means your elastic, that is the nonlinear ODE is whatever you have solved, and your Euler's buckling, that formula, both of them are exactly same actual. Okay. Now when alpha is 20 degrees, you say, now what is happening? Your buckling load is how much? Now the original buckling load is 1.015 times your PCR actual. Okay. So what does it tells you? So your Euler's formula, say, what is either it's a conservative or underestimate or overestimate. So Euler's buckling load is smaller actually. You followed, right? It's more or less conservative. You followed, right? Kind of. Okay. Now for 60 degrees, say, then P is equal to, you see, 1.152 times PCR actual, the buckling load. So your Euler's buckling formula, whatever results you get, they are more or less is a conservative kind of thing. Now in our civil engineering, so how much rotations we take? See, suppose if the column is, if in existing building, if a column is slightly bent like this, say, what you will do?
Sir, in steel structure, we take maximum 0.2 radian, 0.02 radian.
Yes, 0.0 radians this you take. So if it is a 20 degree or 60 degree, what you will do is you will run away from that building actually, okay, and say that it has to be demolished, okay. But where do you use this type of large rotations? Now, so these are used, as already I told you, in special materials, okay. Like if you are studying you have seen, right, in biomechanics, your DNA, DNA, you followed, right, something like this, this type of structures will be there. So when you try to study these deformations, buckling of these type of structures, wired columns or something, then these solutions become. There are some columns, where they look something like this, the wires. You followed the wires, there's something. Suppose if you want to study this type of a thing, say, okay. Sorry. Now, so like this type of, then where you see the nonlinearity comes into picture, then, you may have to go for these things. So now you can check when it is 170 degrees, the angle actual. Okay, so now we have gone up to 60. So when it becomes 170 degrees or something, then your P becomes, something like 3 times actual, your PCR. You followed. So it is very, very complex kind of a thing which you have. Okay, so your Euler buckling formula, it is highly conservative for these type of structures actually. Okay, so this is the most important thing. So now to just summarize our elastica. Okay, now what does it tell you? What is the final conclusion? Now, so now what is our final conclusion? So when you talk about civil engineering, say our applications in RCC or steel, whether you require elastica, you don't require elastica at all actually. Okay, so you can go with your classical pi square EI by L square itself. Okay, and now where do you see this large this thing? So civil this one say. Okay, so your elastica is more or less close to your Euler formula, because we don't deal with large rotations actually. Okay, the small rotations kind of a thing. Now, where do you see large type of rotations? If you see in aerospace structures also, we have problems. So in aerospace and mechanical, say they may be having with these wires or you follow, right? Some complicated, things they use actually. Okay, so there your elastica becomes the solution. Very, very important. Okay? So there you may be, overestimating this. You follow, right? Your solutions is, conservative kind of a thing. You followed. See, I don't know how many of see recently, this Japan, I think they have done this. They have developed a material, high strength material. Okay, so this material, it's a small wire kind of a thing, like rings like that. It comes, and they say that its buckling strength is very high, and it can be used for compression. So when you are trying to do these type of structures, elastica becomes very, very important actually. Okay, so this is a very the important thing, derivation. And the main thing, interesting mathematics here is you will get elliptical integrals. This is the most very interesting thing in mathematics. The elliptical integrals comes compared to your circular integrals. Okay, so this is very easy. So now in 15 years back or 20 years back, solving these elliptical integrals was a very complex. People used to see this. What is it? Right? That tables of integrals. One book is there. It contains all kinds of formulas. They write the solutions in terms of power series or something. So we used to use those things. But now MATLAB Mathematica has come. I think already elliptical integral commands are there. If you just dump cell, you will get your numbers itself. Okay, so this is how the elastica comes in. So anyway, so now this is a very important derivation. So now let us see this effect of imperfections actually. But see, this solution, whatever we gave, this solution is perfectly valid for see already pendulum also. So in your structural dynamics, your pendulum, you would have seen, right? For the simple pendulum, that something time period is, you write as, right, 1 by 2 pi root of G by L kind of a thing. So that is not correct one. See, when the pendulum oscillates, say, when the pendulum, the rotation is very small at the initial portion only, that solution is valid. But as a pendulum oscillates, when the angle becomes a 20, 60 degree or, 70 or 80 degree kind of a thing, then you can use whatever solution we have derived now for buckling of a column, same to same can be used for pendulum itself. So you can even study the time period of a pendulum, say, when theta becomes very, very large. No need to use sine theta is equal to theta. So you can use the same whatever we derived, the same solution is applicable for pendulum problems also. Okay, so you can verify in dynamics whatever time periods you have got, how good they are, they say, using this elliptical integral, same solution, only s has to be replaced with the time actual. Okay, just you have to substitute some terms here and there, that's it. Okay, so now let us see the effect of imperfections is on buckling load. This also you would have seen in your undergraduate. I think you would have seen as like secant formula, you remember sometime you would have done in your UG. So now let us see these things. Okay, so now here imperfections comes. One is small initial when the column is already, you followed, right, crookedness or whatever. Okay, or it is already bent column actually, slightly it has been bent. You followed. Then you can have even the eccentricity of load also. Now what happens? what happens to your results actually. You would have seen in your undergraduate, but once again, just we will, whatever the important things we can find out. So now you are having a column, say like this. It is not straight, it is slightly bent like this actually. Okay, now what happens? So you can take same, so it is not perfectly straight. Okay, some small curvature is there. In steel structures, right, when you are constructing a steel column, so what happens? A long column will be there. If you want to install it, so it's very, very difficult, right? They break it into small, and then they will do the welding actual. Okay, that splices you would have studied in your CE, that is steel structures, how to design the splice and other things you would have seen. So, in when you try to, in practice, you can't avoid this type of, perfect kind of a thing. Some small imperfections comes into picture actually. Okay, so sometimes column may be like this also. Sometimes the eccentricities will be like this. So your column may have like this also. This also, you can have a column like this. The imperfections, something like this also. So generally, or it may be some complicated also. Okay, so some complicated things also may happen, but generally all these imperfections, say, okay, they can be modeled, you followed, right, in terms of a Fourier series actually. You would have seen, right, in Fourier series, you see any function can be approximated in terms of sine, and the cos terms. You followed. So now, depending on the imperfection, you can decide actually how many sine terms are required, how many cos terms are required. So if you see this problem, say, now how many sine terms are required here? This problem, the first one, how do you represent this imperfection? The first one. So how do you solve this type of a problem? You one sine term is sufficient actual. Okay, that you can represent as sine pi x by L. So if this is L, say, okay, so the imperfection can be represented in terms sine pi x. Now when you go for this problem, say how many sine terms are required, you can suppose if you're having one node, say you can take a sine 2 pi x by L actual. Okay, or maybe sine 3 pi x by L or sine 4 pi x by L. So depending on the imperfection, you have to decide actual. Okay, so that you can use this Fourier series and not to include all the terms. So you decide. So whenever a problem is given to you, so you just decide what type of imperfection, how do we model the imperfection, first of all, how to represent this, that you can use one sine term or two sine terms or three sine terms or something that is in your hand actual. Okay, so now let us see the first one, that is, so you can represent this imperfection as, some v naught sine, pi x by L. Okay, so this is an imperfection in your column. So now in the second case, say, okay, so this case, the imperfection is, so y is equal to y naught sine 2 pi x by L. You followed. So this is how we represent it. Suppose if it is something more complicated, say, if you are imperfection, you can add, the more terms in your sine series also. You can write this as v1 into sine, pi x by L plus v2 into, you see, sine, 2 pi x by L. You can add whatever terms you like actually. Okay, so if you know the, so now if you know the solutions for this independently, you can, anyway, principle of superposition you can use also. Okay, so this is how we see. So the imperfections, the first most important thing is how do we model the imperfection actually, how to model. So this is the most important thing. Okay, or how to represent actually. You followed the imperfection. So now once you have this modeling the imperfections, then the problem becomes, you followed, right? So ei, y double dash plus py, since because of imperfection, so you have a bending moment, this coming due to this imperfection. So you will have your equation of equilibrium will be k square into y is equal to, you see, minus k square v naught into, you see, sine pi x by L, you get actual. So this is how, you see, the equation comes, okay, due to imperfection. And it is basically inhomogeneous, the ODE. You follow the ordinary differential equation comes in. Okay, so which means your solution, say, you will have a particular integral plus, your complementary and all those you followed, right? The terms will come into picture. So now this you have to decide actually. Okay, So anyway, I will stop here. I think we have already reached our class, this one. So where is this? Yes. So we already reached our 10:50. So I think tomorrow's class, we'll continue our discussion. Okay. So if you have any doubts, so you can ask. And anyway, we have our WhatsApp group is there. So if you have any problems, you can ask me in the WhatsApp group itself. And as you know, right, all the lectures, last lecture you are able to see.
They were saying that they want link for the YouTube one, sir.
Oh, YouTube level. So already Microsoft we have, right? Videos we are saving. You can click in, I think, Microsoft. But anyway, I will store it in YouTube and send you the link also. Okay.
So we can see it in stream.
Which one?
Microsoft Stream.
You can see. Then in Microsoft
Yes,
Stream
I
you
think.
can. Yes, that because automatically it saves, in that cloud and Microsoft Team it comes. You just try. Otherwise, I will put it in YouTube. Okay, something like my
So
channel
can
I have to
we
create. Please.
get this whiteboard file
Yes,
after class?
I will send you. Yes, I have to save it. I think this I have to save it as a PNG file and I will send it to you. Okay. So it's fine then. Huh? Okay, fine. So we'll continue tomorrow. I think 9 o'clock class, right? We are having. So I will send you the link and we will continue tomorrow. Okay.